Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blogs. So let's get to it. I say I'm gonna take some time off, y'all. All the cashiers, they was like, somebody stole her truck. It was like you could hear it all throughout the store. This Rox coming to you today with a review for Love and Marriage Detroit, Love and Marriage Huntsville, our book 4, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's get to it, shall we? All right, rock stars, spirits is a little low today. Happy Juneteenth, even though you guys won't be getting this until Friday. At least I believe you'll be getting this on Friday, as long as my computer, I've been having technical difficulties. This is the reason why the top of the blogs extra that I did for Tyler Perry is not up yet. Maybe it's up by now. We're going to say that it's up by now. And hopefully I was able to get the issues worked out, but it's just been, I don't know, child, it's just technical problems. So if you haven't watched that video though, and if it is up, you guys go make sure that you watch it. We discuss all things Tyler Perry and this lawsuit with Derek Dixon. Okay. So I'm so irritated. Real irritated. Real irritated. But we're gonna get through it, you guys. First story up, you guys, is the tragic story of Adriana Smith. That is the woman who was pregnant here in Georgia, who has been brain dead since February, because she had blood clots in her brain. I believe that's like an aneurysm, right? Well, she had the blood clots in her brain, and she was brain dead for all intents and purposes. However, because of Georgia's abortion laws, the issue was that she was pregnant, and the laws protect the baby. Well, the laws protect the fetus or the baby, even if the mother is or is not alive. So, or, in that state. So they've been keeping her alive on the monitor. To me, that is cruel, because this woman is brain dead. People don't come back from being brain dead. And so they've just been keeping this woman alive. The family has had to deal with knowing that, their loved one is not there, but there, that is a lot on you emotionally, mentally. I'm sure the mother has been having to deal with all of it. I mean, the whole family has been having to deal with this. And it's sad that it became a political matter, but that's exactly what it was. So she has been on the monitor all this time. She finally did go into labor. Well, I don't know if she went into labor. They gave her a C-section, and the baby was delivered. 1 pound, 13 ounces. He's currently in the NICU. They've named the baby Chance, and the mom says, the mother of the girl who passed, the mother said that, he is expected to survive, so they're just wanting everybody to pray for the baby. But in the meantime, it was her daughter. She had to deal with the daughter being in that vegetative state all this time. They did finally take her off of the life support, and she did finally pass. And just, the family has had to, basically, it feels like this woman has been dying for 5 months. Can you imagine being in that state of just still waiting for the person to finally pass so that you can get to the next stage of grief and, trying to make plans or whatever it is that you have for the future of this baby and, the baby's life, which that's a whole nother thing. Now they have this baby and the family has to take care of the baby. I'm sure they will, and I'm sure they love the baby, but this was not the plan of the grandmother, to now have to raise the child. The father, I believe, is still in the picture. So I'm sure the grandmother and the father, it's going to be a collective effort and everything. But the fact of the matter is, you've got this baby now without a mother. She had the blood clots. She died, but they kept her alive all this time, so just terrible all the way around. I was watching on, they were interviewing the mother on the news out here, and she was just saying how difficult it was for her to let go. I just feel really bad because being in that almost dying limbo and then not knowing what's going to go on, you know, with the baby's health and, you know, how the law was going to turn and all that. Just terrible. Just terrible. I hate that family had to go through that. But at least now the daughter has now died, and now that family can just get to whatever the next stage is. But my heart goes out to them, because, you know, the baby being premature. I mean, you know, modern medicine now, premature babies still have a, you know, they still have a fulfilled life. They thrive just fine. A lot of them do, but then there are some that do have health problems because of the fact that they were premature. So, you know, they still don't know exactly what's going to go on with the baby health-wise. But, you know, we're just going to pray that the baby is healthy, that family, you know, both the mother's side and the father's side of the baby, you know, that they all are strong enough and prayed up enough. And you got to just pray for them because they're going to need it. Okay. In the meantime, they need to do something about these damn abortion laws. I mean, you know, it's our country, child. I just don't know. I hate that it's become a political matter. That should have never been something that family had to, you know, go through, being forced to keep a dead person alive, you know. I don't know. Anyway, you guys, we're going to move on from there. But prayers up for both of those families, that baby, everybody involved over there. And let's move on to the next story. All right, you guys. So somebody sent me a DM the other day from the Ricky Smiley Morning Show, and they were talking about there were sources that were saying that Brit might be the blame and the cause for the whole Real Housewives franchise going down. Not just Atlanta, but the whole Real Housewives franchise. And as soon as I saw that, I was just like, how they gonna say that Brit is the reason why, you know? But I read this story, and what they're saying is there are sources. This has not come from anybody in Bravo. And you guys know how Real Housewives, that franchise, works. Usually you got to wait until Andy says it, child. But what this source is saying is that the Bravo executives are considering canceling the entire franchise because the Real Housewives franchise has become too much of a liability. I believe they said that the Brit lawsuit is now the 6th lawsuit that has been brought, you know, officially brought upon the show, the franchise, and they're tired, and it's gotten expensive for them. The stuff that they loved Real Housewives for, you know, all of the messiness and the shadiness and the drama, that it has gotten to a point where it has mushroomed basically, and now the shows, you know, they cause more problems than they're worth. I know Real Housewives, the franchise as a whole, but just speaking on Atlanta, you know, they don't get the views that they used to get. These girls don't make the money that they used to make unless they're like the big celebrities, like, you know, Portia or Kenya or somebody like them. But, you know, so it's not the same. The show doesn't do as well as it used to do. And this source is saying that they're just thinking about letting the whole thing go. Now, Brit's lawsuit is for $20 million. Of course, it was for the emotional distress, defamation, and a hostile work environment. Okay, that is the reason why she's suing. Remember when we first found out about this, before the show came back and everything, but when they let us know that Kenya did what she did at her opening, back then I told you guys, I was like, Brit really does have a case. It depends on whether or not they keep Kenya around, and because she could claim like a hostile work environment. Of course, we know defamation can be there because they have been saying that Brit was the person that was naked in these pictures, and Kenya, you know, brought all of that. And I had said that the fact that they had let Kenya go, maybe that would appease Brit and she wouldn't feel like she was now continuing in a hostile work environment, right? And that's why she continued on with the show and all. However, the fact that now Brit is saying that she knows that that is not her in those pictures or the videos, now this is where the issue comes in, because the source is also saying, and also in Brit paperwork, it says that Brit actually asked the producers, begged them plenty of times to let her see the pictures and the videos, and they did not let her see them. Okay, they wanted the drama. They wanted this to happen on the show. This is what her paperwork is saying. Okay, and to me now that changes things, because we assumed that, you know, they just said that it was her and that was that. But now that she is saying that she actually asked to see the pictures and they told her no, that's a little bit different. Because now it's like, did you guys know that that wasn't her and you guys just held on to him just to get all this drama going? Or like, what gives? Why was it that they wouldn't show her the picture? Okay, that's going to be an issue, I think, in court. Real Rockstar lawyers out there, you guys, y'all let us know. The story didn't even really sound believable to me. But if they didn't let her show but if they didn't show her the pictures, then that is a problem. Like, that's an issue. I hate the fact that Brit is getting blamed for the whole franchise, though, because Brit is only responsible for, you know, season 16. What about all these other seasons that we've had some issues with? The last 5 seasons of Real Housewives of Atlanta, honestly, well, I'll say maybe the last 4 seasons of Real Housewives of Atlanta has not given us what we wanted from, you know, the seasons previous, like what we got from the seasons previously, you know. So Real Housewives of Atlanta is not only the only problem. They've had problems on the other Real Housewives franchises as well. So I don't think that them getting rid of the entire franchise would be something, but something needs to be done at least about these producers out here in Atlanta, because I feel like the last few seasons, these producers also have a hand in the reason why the show is so fucked up, you know. And we so busy blaming the talent on the show instead of like the producers, who really need to be the ones that are conscious of what they're doing when they putting these women in on the show. You know, how they're going to work out together. Is anybody vetting these people? Is anybody checking them out? Background? So no, I don't know if I believe that the whole franchise is going to go down, but I do know that Atlanta is in trouble. We've had the last 3 seasons that we have, you know, people have really been complaining about. So they're gonna have to do something. They're gonna have to do something, but I really still feel like it's still more at the top and not necessarily the cast. Okay, I mean, it's the cast too, but the top is the reason why the trickle down has fucked up the cast, you know. So that's what I mean. Also, let me also bring up, since I'm talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta, the whole thing with Brit and Kelly, and I guess maybe they're not friends anymore, you know, because of the whole makeup artist or the whole glam team that Kelly let Brit use. Well, apparently Kelly's team had came out and said that they were actually on the side of Brit, that Brit was more professional, that Brit paid on time, that Kelly was unprofessional. She showed up to gigs or events that she was, you know, scheduled for, drunk, late. She doesn't pay on time. So it's like, there is that. Okay. And so Kelly's being upset with Brit. It looks like Kelly's makeup team, or some of the people from her makeup team, or her glam squad, I should say, actually like working with Brit more. That's what they're saying. Okay, I'm just making sure I let y'all know that. Okay. Real Housewives of Atlanta, child, it is a pain in the pussy, ain't it? Every time you turn around, there's something. Anyway, let's move on from there. Next story. RKelly mama named him Robert Sylvester Kelly has been in jail ever since he was sentenced to a 30-year prison sentence for racketeering, those sexual abuse, all the charges. Okay, dealing with minors and the things like of that nature. He's in jail, remember? And Robert Kelly has been trying to get out of jail pretty much since he's been there. His team has been working hard to try to get him out. I mean, even to the point where not too long ago, they said that they were even asking YSAP to possibly pardon him. Okay, so it's gotten to there. Anyway, we found out the other day that RKelly had experienced an overdose and was rushed to the hospital. Apparently RKelly has been having health problems in the hospital. I mean, in jail, in prison. He's been having a swollen leg and he's been complaining about it, and they said that he has not been treated for it. They said that he was diagnosed with blood clots in his legs and in his lungs. So you guys know that you can die from blood clots. I just told you about the mother who died, who was pregnant. So That's a very dangerous diagnosis, and it needs to be treated immediately. Well, they haven't really been treating the man, but they did give him some medication the other day, but it was too much, or it wasn't the right medication. Anyway, he experienced the overdose, so they had to take him to the hospital. They did treat him, but they took him back to jail, and he wants to go home. Okay, because his lawyers are saying that it's inhumane the way that they are treating him, that he cannot at least get medical attention. I mean, right is right and wrong is wrong, and this man is a human being, and he's in jail, and it needs this attention, and it is the prison's, duty to provide that. So that's where they are with it, trying to see if they can get him on house arrest and let him just serve out the rest of his prison sentence there. I don't see them doing that, but maybe they will move him to a different facility where he can get the treatment that he needs, because he's been moved around a few times. I think that he's been in Chicago, he's been in New York, and I think now he is in North Carolina. And North Carolina thus far seems to be the worst one out of all the places that he's in. He's been in a special housing unit or something, but because I'm assuming because he's a celebrity, and so he needs to be kept out of the general population or whatever. But the solitary confinement that they've been placing him in has also been working, they said, on his mental on his whole mental foundation, and that he just ain't been in a good place. I mean, I would imagine you're not when you're in jail. So that's what's going on with old R. Kelly. I do hate to hear that, y'all. I don't want the man to die. I don't want the man to die, But yeah, that's what's happening over there with Mr. R. Kelly. Okay? Hopefully they can come to a happy medium. Maybe they can move him. Maybe they can move him and get him into a place that maybe they'll take care of him a little bit better. Okay? Next story. The Puffy case. We're just going to do a quick update on it. You guys, I have still been watching. Also, I've been meaning to shout out one of the Roxstars for the longest, Lauren the Lawyer. She has been watching this channel for years and years and years. And she actually is a big deal over on TikTok, and also has quite a big following over on YouTube and Instagram. But she does a breakdown of the Puffy cases. Child, let me get my words together. She does a good job of explaining the case. You guys make sure you check her out, Lauren the Lawyer. But anyway, getting back to it. My question this week was, why is it that the jury was not sequestered? Okay, because this week we've been having issues with the juror. Juror number 6. Juror number 6 has been the one that's been on everybody's tongue. Juror number 6 was the person that lied. Well, I won't say that he lied, but he was not truthful in where he lived, in order to serve as a juror. You have to serve, apparently, in the place where you live. You can't serve in a different county. You have to be living in that same place. So he didn't really say. I'm not sure if it's because he just really wanted to be on the case, or if he just don't want people to know where he lived, because, this is a high profile case, and, Puffy did kind of fancy himself as a mafioso kind of guy, and shit, maybe that shit is dangerous and he didn't want people to know where he lived. Or maybe it was just a slip of the, maybe he just moved and didn't know, and the memory didn't change up the thing or whatever. At any rate, they ended up getting rid of juror number 6, which was a black man. Okay. Now they replaced him with one of the alternate jurors, which is a white guy. The judge is like, it ain't no big deal. It has nothing to do with the fact that he's this black man or anything like that. It's all about the fact that he's not living in the county that he said that he was in. Okay, so he's got to go. So that was it. The judge, the Puffy they did try to say, they did try to ask for a mistrial, saying that, they needed to make sure that they kept the racial makeup of the jury the same or whatever. And the judge was just like, no, we ain't doing that. That ain't gonna be this. And then there's another juror now that they're saying that there might be an issue with, who's been talking about the case. And my question again was like, this is such a high profile case. Why did they not sequester this jury? Okay, because we talking about it every day, on YouTube. There are people that talk about this case not only just every day, but all day, every day. That's all they talk about. They post all day about the case, So there's so much opinions going around. Shit that we talking about might not be factual, and you guys are letting these juries just be. The jury is able to see all the shit that's being said, and I know that has to be working in some kind of way. People are human, you know, even if you don't believe it, but the minute you start hearing other opinions and things about that, that can sway your opinion. I know, because that's one of the reasons why I don't really try to watch other people's videos or post about things, because sometimes I can change my mind just by reading something that somebody else said, but I don't like to do that because I like to go by what my first mind was. I just don't understand why this jury is able to go home every day and just be trusted to not have to deal with. I mean, they talk about it on the news. World News Tonight talks about the Puffy case every day. It's just like, why, you know, so I don't know. But the fact that that jury is still able to consume everything else, it's going to be a problem. I don't know if it's a problem for the defense or the prosecution, but it seems like that's a problem. The prosecution is going to finish their case, and then it's going to go on to the defense, and so I guess the defense will have the spotlight for the next few weeks. They were saying that they were going to be done by July 4th, but I don't know how that's going to happen because we are already on the 20th. 4th of July is only in another week and a half. So it's like, is that going to be enough time for the defense to feel like they've been able to present their case, appropriately and accurately and get everything? I don't know if that's going to be enough time. Again, the big discussion is Christina Koram. Child, I believe Christina might be cooperating with the prosecution or something, because it's interesting that she hasn't been charged. And child, every single body that walks up there and sits their ass in that witness chair mentions KK, you know? So it's like, if she's not being charged with Puffy, there's a reason why. I believe that Christina might be working with the prosecution, which would be really something if she turned on Puffy. You know, Christina has been his for real right-hand man for years and years and years, you know, and they, like they said, she knows where all the bodies are buried. And if she turns on Puffy, then that's probably going to be the nail in the coffin for him. Okay. Still don't really know what's going on. But again, Christina Koram, even for a person that don't really know much about the law, I even know that woman, the fact that they keep on saying her name, like she is very important to this case in some kind of way. So we'll see what goes on there. That'll be unfortunate if she does turn on Puffy like that. But you know, when motherfuckers is staring at they life and looking at a prison sentence possibly, you know, that kind of changes up the tunes of a lot of people. So we'll see what happens with KK, y'all. But have you guys been still paying attention to the case? You know, they had to post this week they was watching videos of some of the freak-offs. And they said that the people was just like, really, every time they could, they was taking they headphones off, because they, you know, the jury is the only people that are able to see these videos. They don't let the people that's in the courtroom or the overflow room to see any of this stuff. So or hear it. So they have their headphones on, but they said that them jurors, every time they could, they was taking them headphones off, like, okay, enough. Because how much fucking do you need to be watching, child? But they have to do it in this case. So they had a whole day of watching freak-offs. Then the next day, one of the juries called in sick. He was just like, I cannot do it. Okay, I can't. Okay, you can only take so much semen and fucking Astroglide and baby oil and candle wax and no. Okay, so they've had a couple of, this week has just been kind of like a wash because we had a holiday. We've had the juror calling out sick, you know, which meant that they didn't have court that day. And then this whole jury, them getting rid of it. And then this other juror, that's an issue, you know, so all this is going on. But yeah, you guys, if you guys have been paying attention or keeping track of everything, y'all let me know what you think about this week. What's been going on with the Puffy trial? How y'all feeling? Do you still feel like Puffy might be going to jail? Or do we feel like, you know, I still feel like Puffy is going to jail, y'all. It's just going to be a matter of how long, especially if KK turn on him. We going to see. We going to see, you guys. Next story. India Irie and her mom on Father's Day. They posted on India Irie's Instagram a voice note of India Irie's mother. Did I get her name? I don't believe I did. I feel like her mom's name might have been Sharon, but don't quote me. That's probably not right. However, India Irie's mother and India Irie posted a voice note on India Irie's Instagram stories. She also posted not just the voice note, but also text of her explaining how she is now liberating herself from the clutches of being a victim of sexual abuse by the hands of her father. Now, I did not know that India Irie's father was a famous retired NBA player. Like, I had no idea. He played back, it looks like, in the 70s and 80s. He played for the Houston Rockets, the Denver Nuggets, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Detroit Pistons. The father terrorized the family like the entire time of India growing up. Not only did he sexually abuse India Irie, but he also sexually abused the mother. And from what I understand, the mom and India Irie, were just basically in this house with this man who was just doing whatever he wanted to do to these people. And sick, very, very sick, you guys. I just never can understand a father doing this to their daughter. I mean, to anybody, but to their own flesh and blood child, I will never, ever understand it. Never. We actually had a friend that we found out had been sexually abusing his daughters. And, of course, nobody talks to him anymore and all of that. But, just a shocker. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Never would have ever imagined them doing something like this, So, yeah, sickening. So the voice note, if you guys did listen to it, the mom is just saying how she's no longer keeping this secret. Her and India are no longer keeping this secret. How the mom has watched her daughter have to suffer over the years. How she would have performances that she would have to cancel because she just could not handle it mentally. She would have to be getting treatment from doctors, and honestly, you guys, if you've been paying attention, India Irie has been troubled for a long time. She's been on social media and she's posted things, and you could tell that she just was not in a good mental space. Okay. And that's been going on for years. And I never could understand exactly why it was, but I just knew that, India was struggling with some mental issues. And now it all makes sense. Like, now we understand exactly why India Irie was going through. But the mom is saying that now that the son is grown, the son is the only reason why Ralph is able to live, basically, because the son pays all his bills. The son takes care of him. Even with him being a retired NBA player, even though back then they didn't make the money that they make now. So, but even with him being a retired player, he gambled everything away. So he doesn't have anything. So if he didn't have a son that was taking care of him, he probably would be destitute. And then the mom is going on about how she does forgive him. She feels sorry for him and everything, but she's not going to deal with the shame of keeping this quiet any longer. So that was them releasing, and I was just like, yeah, I mean, what can you say? People got to get to their own healing the way that they can. And if the man was doing that to them, I mean, and if that's their story, then that is what it is, y'all. Yeah, but very, very good for them that they were able to do this and feel empowered by it. And, prayers for that whole family. Prayers for the whole family. Okay? Next story. All right, you guys, lastly in quickies, Fallon and Jaylen, you guys know they recently got married and the boy took her last name, right? Because they said that the Pena name is really important and all, and so I guess Jaylen Banks, he did not want to carry his own name over, so they gave the new baby that they had, which I believe was a little boy. I don't even know if it's a boy or girl, child. I didn't even put that in the notes. I'm sorry, you guys. But they had this baby. I feel like it was a boy. They done gave the baby the Pena last name. Jaylen also said that he felt like Fallon deserved to be on Real Housewives of Atlanta because she was never able to really give her story, and she really does have a story to tell. Okay, I said, I bet she does. Okay, honey, Real Housewives of Atlanta is over there fighting for their life right now, child. So maybe Fallon didn't need to be mixed up in all that shit over there. Okay, she had enough drama on her own. Now, Fallon is saying that her and Jaylen's love is in black and white. There's no gray areas, okay? They have chosen forgiveness. They love each other. They happy. And, child, that's what it is, child. And what can I say other than congratulations, and I'm happy for them. If that's what they choose to do, fine. Okay, good for them. Love wins. K. Michelle was on Cam Newton's show, and it was a good interview. It was a good interview, and she talked about a number of things, but, you know, of course, we always going to have a little smirk when K. Michelle talks about that Muppet in the corner. That K. Michelle, she said, listen, she is over trying to be the nice person here, that Tamar always has something to say. Just always. Even when Beyonce sent her the flowers and everything, we remember when Tamar was talking and had something slick to say. So K. Michelle said, from, you know what, it's just always up. Like, I'm all for women's empowerment, I'm all for women's togetherness, and, you know, all of that. But if I see that girl, I'll punch her in her fucking chest. Okay, if I see her, I'm gonna fight us up every single time. Okay, on sight. And you know what, at this point, I can't even say nothing but, listen, I hope that Tamar don't bump into K. Michelle. I can't say nothing else about it because Tamar does try K. Michelle quite a bit. You guys saw that video of K. Michelle talking to the lady, and the lady was just like, tell us a little bit about you starting in country music, you know, because you're not from here. You know, you didn't grow up here. So, you know what, just give us a little. And K. Michelle was just like, first of all, you know, you do this all the time, but I am from here. I grew up in Memphis, Texas. Memphis, Texas, child. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, you know, and she is in, you know, so I love the fact that K. Michelle did very politely check that woman, okay? Because, bitch, you know, K. Michelle talks with the twang. You can hear country in her voice, okay? She was like, I got a scholarship for yodeling. Who fucking yodels outside of the country genre, you know? So it's just like, what is this lady talking about? So I was real proud that K. Michelle put that lady in her place, said what she had to say, and did not do all of the, you know, that she could have been. Because I was like, bitch, you got put in that day. You lucky you didn't get K. Michelle, though. But we had K. Michelle in that Cam Newton interview, and she was just like, yeah, it's always going to be up with Tamar. I cannot be the bigger woman with Tamar no more. And I don't blame K. Michelle. Okay? Congratulations are in order to Coco Gauff. I've been meaning to, someone asked me to talk about Coco Gauff and the fact that she won the French Open. Did I not talk about that? I thought that I did, but maybe I didn't. So if I didn't, congratulations to Coco Gauff. She is the first black woman, and I'm going by memory because I know I had it in my notes. But there hadn't been a black woman that won the French Open since Serena Williams won back in like 2012 or 2013, somewhere in there. Okay. So, Coco Gauff won. She actually said that she visualized it, and she, I hate that word, manifest, only because it's so overused. Okay. But, she said that she manifested this win, that she wrote it down some years ago, that she's gonna win. She had a dream about it, and she did win. So there's that as well. But anyway, congratulations to Coco Gauff, because you guys know that we knew that she was gonna get here eventually. She was young when she started, you know, and had some bumps and bruises that she had to get through, but we here now. I think they said Coco Gauff was like one of the highest paid black athletes last year, right? So we here now. Good for Coco. Okay, so congratulations at Black Girl Magic. Okay, you're just not gonna get enough of us now, are you? All right, you guys, let me get on off of here. Get back up here and try to get this video uploaded, you guys. I'm telling you, I'm so I was up till like 2 in the morning. And the video, I was trying to get it done, and it had completely disappeared. Video was just gone. The whole project was gone. So I have to re-edit it and get it up, you know, so But also, my iMovie on my laptop is tripping. I've got to probably take it to the Apple store and see if they can get... It's just so much fucking system data that is taking up the storage that I cannot figure out how to get rid of. It has to be done at the Apple store. I'm sure you don't care about any of this, you guys. The video will be up. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Okay? We do this every single week. Make sure you thumbs up the video, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you come back. Till next time, Roxstars. Bye.